My dad started the business in 1992. Him and his brother went to a coffee shop in Austin, Texas that was roasting coffee. And my dad had always loved coffee, but it was one of those things when he walked in there and saw them roasting coffee and doing the whole process, he really knew that's what his calling was, and he knew that's what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. So I was 7 when we moved here. I was actually here on the first day helping hand out free cups of coffee. It was definitely a different culture than it is now in the coffee industry. You know, we did not start off with vanilla lattes or caramel lattes or caramel frappuccino type situation. There was more of a traditional coffee base. If you wanted a sweet latte, you would add sugar to it. And as the culture grew, as people's drink knowledge expanded, coffee shops had to kind of expand their menu choices. So there's different grades and different qualities of coffee. So when you can sit here and choose the specific type of coffee that you want to see in your cafe, not only are you choosing that particular unroasted coffee bean, but then you get to choose how you roast it as well. Whether you want it to be a little bit darker, whether you want it to be a little bit lighter. Controlling the temperature, controlling how long it's roasted for. Being able to control those things is going to dictate how the cup performs. If you're deciding that you're going to open up a coffee shop and you decide to go with a 500-pound roaster, the end result is it's not going to be as smooth in the cup because there's going to be things that they don't equally distribute throughout the roasting process. Some beans are going to be underdone, some will be overdone. We use a 25-pound roaster. So what that does is that distributes the heat a lot more equally throughout the entire batch process. It's just a better process overall. We get everybody, and I think that's part of our culture is, we've always been very open, and we don't try and go after one market. So we've always been very welcome to everybody.
Coffee Zone, it's not just a coffee shop, it's a place have a lot of culture in it. You come and drink a really good cup of coffee and you see something you have not seen in any other coffee shop. We have our own style serving, our own atmosphere, our own food. The home of Rocket Fuel's Coffee Zone. It's our signature coffee. It's a dark roast that we keep moist, so it's pretty strong, and the way we roast it and we do the whole package is completely different than any cup of coffee you had before. And we also specialize at Mediterranean food. It's all mom's recipe, something we actually grew up on. It's a culture on a plate. My brother Osama opened the Coffee Zone in 1994. He was working in San Francisco. The coffee was not as popular in the Midwest, so when he moved here to Colombia, he just fell in love with the area. He decided just to move that culture of coffee from San Francisco to Columbia, Missouri. He used mom's recipe, basic food, and then simple cup of coffee. You feel like you're back home. So it's like if you walk to a coffee shop in Jordan, you're gonna feel the same way. We didn't try to Americanize the place. We bought the culture, the whole thing in one coffee shop. We tried to make everybody feel comfortable, everybody feel welcome. For our culture back home in Jordan, my mom, when she actually get people at home, the first thing she serves them is Turkish coffee. Turkish coffee is a fine ground coffee mixed with cardamom. You boil it on the stove, so it's like there's no machines. Like back to the days, they didn't have coffee machine or a fancy tool that you could use to make coffee. You boil it 3 times and that's it. It's really strong, it's flavorful, it's delicious. So it's a little different cup of coffee, different kind of joy. When somebody comes here to the shop, it's not about buying a cup of coffee. If you come to my house, I want you to feel welcome. I have so many customers, they walk in, they open a regular conversation because I know what they're getting. I'm serving them right away. We're just talking, or we're continuing a subject that we opened the day before. So it's like that kind of relationship that we know each other by name, we see each other outside. It's about community, it's almost like family to us. It's not just about a cup of coffee that I'm serving you on the table and stuff like that. It's beyond that.
I've always loved coffee. I love drinking coffee. I love talking about coffee. I love all the options that coffee kind of brings to the table. And I love music. It was kind of like, well, if I'm going to follow my dreams and my passions, those are the two things. I know a lot about music, and I've played in bands, and I've done sound, and I've recorded, and I've done all that stuff. On the coffee side, I only really knew that I like to drink it. So I figured in order to really figure it out and whether or not I can make a business out of it, I needed to learn more. So I started just obsessing about beans and roasting and brew methods and process, and so I went down the rabbit hole pretty deep. I fell in love with roasting and that process as much as I love music, so it just became kind of my own little obsession. So I started with a tabletop roaster in my kitchen, and I got another roaster, and my desire to do it and learn more about it just became wider and wider and deeper and deeper. I've been really focused on making sure that the coffees that we choose are high quality and that they have a variety of tastes and flavors and that. But it doesn't end with just the selection of the coffee. It is also our process and making sure that we're roasting it properly. And if we do see a one that didn't quite roast up just right, we pull those out. Even if it's only a 0.01% that makes the difference, that matters enough to me to do it. When I get a new bean, I roast it a couple of different ways. So what I try to do is find where that bean kind of fits best. And so like I'll take a bean and I'll roast it very lighter than I might like it, and I'll roast it medium, I'll roast it darker. I'll try to find where the sweet spot for that bean is, and it may be that sweet spot is a very light roast that has like a lot of, cranberry and, nutmeg and things like this coming out of it that I might personally not really like as much, but when I taste it, I'm like, that's what's singing. It's kind of like a harmonic vibration where it's like, oh my God, that's where it is. That's the magic spot for that bean. I might like something a little bit more towards the medium, but like that bean is not it. That bean does really well on the light side. I kind of try to approach each bean individually and figure out where their sweet spot is. I want to be the shop that welcomes everybody, no matter where you're at with coffee, whether you like, the biggest, sweetest frozen drink ever, or whether you like, a single origin espresso. I mean, I want to talk to you about what you like and why you like it and what I can suggest to you next time. And we want to welcome everybody in. Like, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about coffee.
The town has grown significantly since the early 90s. There's also 12 plus coffee shops throughout Colombia now. We used to be the only one. More people drink coffee now than they ever have. So the town has definitely fueled us. We feel very fortunate to be around for 25 years, and we're definitely excited for the next 25.
This is our baby, we can't change it. Your baby might change over the years, but you're not gonna change the love for him. And that's what we do. We love, what we do, and we're not gonna change it no matter what.
A lot of people think that New York and LA and Seattle are like the cultural centers of the world, and they're not. I mean, the fact is that we have the means to roast coffee and source coffee that's really fantastic and life-changing, and you can be anywhere to do that. It's about the space that you create, it's about your heart and soul and what you put into it. And so I don't know that you need to be in Brooklyn to be taken seriously as a coffee guy.